This is going to be entirely made up from my imagination. I'm not working with reference. I'm just going by all of those tools that I just talked with you about. So the first thing that I'm going to start to do is search for a gesture. Here's two arms, two separate gestures. See that they make sense with the body that we're connecting them to. So I'm looking around right now for a gesture that will be interesting for me to draw. I like the idea of a charismatic gesture. So as soon as I start to feel like, okay, this is getting interesting to me, then I want to start to move into those structural ideas that we were talking about. So, and that's not the anatomy, but that's just these ideas. So for instance, remember the shoulder cap and the rhythm? So this arm has a really natural, a nice rhythm established. This arm, I can start to think of that shoulder cap through here, and I'm going to try to, based on the bend, it goes this way and then over and up. Okay, the next thing that I would like to do is I'm going to see what I can do about bringing in cylinders, and at the wrist point I want a square. So this arm, this forearm, is going to be in foreshortening. Okay, now this forearm, I'm going to bring in that chicken bone idea. It thickens in there, and this one too, kind of thicker in that part. Maybe not that thick. Now I'm going to go through and see if I can make use of that chain link idea. Notice how that chain link idea gives us the biceps and triceps. And I wouldn't be stating these things as strongly if I wasn't drawing in the context of showing you guys all of that information that we just went over in the last videos. It's just these little adjustments in here that are going to help this take on that feeling. And I'm going to foreshorten the plane across the top of this arm. remember that bone idea, that this comes out. Okay, and here's my chain. Comes in there. I think I like it as a smaller arm. I'm not interested in making a really giant muscle person arm. I'm kind of interested in making a more normal arm. Looking for that chain link idea. It can be so valuable if you can get it to work for you. It can really do a lot. And then as we move down into the wrist, we're just squaring off. Okay, here's our thumb side, that's for sure. I don't know what the thumb gesture is going to be, but that's the thumb side. And in this case, the thumb side is on the inside. Okay, now let's go through and see if we can get these muscles to work out for us. So here we're working with what I would do now, because I've got a gesture down that I think is fine, and I've got my structure seems to be okay at this point. I'm not in love with it, but I'm also not insulted by it. So it seems like it's okay. And what I would do now is I would go through and I would start trying to express this in shade. So I would come and with a lighter tone that's too light, and I would take each form. So this is the form of the deltoid. And I want to initially separate the light from the shadow. And here's the shadow. And the shadow comes across. And down. And this is all very soft. And here's the critical separation point here. And I've got light hitting the top of the tricep. And this is a bicep. And as I move down into the forearm, the muscles of the forearm are really complicated. There's one that goes right here and comes across and finds its way to the thumb. It's a really big muscle right there, and it has a light side on it. And it's going to find its way to all the way over here. So here's one side of the tricep, and then as you move into, here's the plane of the bicep. Okay, and then these are the muscles here are the top muscles that control the top of the hand, and they'll be wrapping around this way and coming around to the top of the hand. And I want to shrink the bottom of that hand. And I might even shrink the top. This has got to be kind of overstated. So I'm working with a sense of a light direction and the anatomy that I've been talking with you about. Too much. Highlighting each form. And I'd like to try one other thing, which would be to introduce a little reflected light in here. That's too much. And this is the same kind of idea that we work with when we shade the geometric solids. There's a terminator, and it's darker. And notice the really tight value range. I'm not working in a really strong light, middle, dark. I'm more working in kind of an all light to middle range. However, within that, I have established light, middle, dark. Okay. So the top part of the form will catch light, and especially this part, which will be really almost turning into the light. Now, none of us have to put in every piece of information that we know. It's a lot better to hold back for the sake of the drawing than it is to feel like you're like without putting everything that you know inside of a drawing, it just won't be any good. I'm kind of satisfied with this as a demonstration for our arms. These to me are okay arms. Okay? Thanks a lot, guys.